welcome back into the Sean podcast. It's the Big Ush. It's that the Cat Daddy. Cat Daddy, what's on your mind?
You know, last week I didn't do as well with my picks, right? I think I was 10-6.
I don't know.
Which, I mean, when I'm 11-5, 10-6 seems really bad. But
all I know is I did get that Cincinnati pick right, so hey.
yeah, we did, yeah.
But so we're starting with our top teams, bottom teams, and then our awards, and then we'll get into our picks. So jumping right into it, Cat Daddy, who are your top teams this week? Has your list changed?
My list has changed because now I have a new number one. I have the Los Angeles Rams at number one. What the roster they have, what the way they've been playing.
Well, they just beat your one from last week, so hey.
They did. Would you be surprised at all if you saw the Rams in the Super Bowl?
Right now, no.
No, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Indeed.
It's just the end of week 3. We're not even into week 4 yet. So I have the Rams number one. Tampa Bay, they do fall from that number one spot, but they don't fall very far.
Number 2, huh?
I still have Tampa Bay as number 2 because you're going against Sean McVay, you're going against Matthew Stafford, you're going against the Los Angeles Rams, which are a good team, and you're without 2 of your top 3 cornerbacks. No Jason Pierre-Paul, no Antonio Brown. You have the injury to Gronk. I mean, Rams, Bucks. I want this to be a collision course to the playoffs, right? Not the conference championship, because that's going to be Dallas and Green Bay. But like wild card rounds, divisional round, I want to see them go against each other again. That's my number 3 team. Almost forgot. The Denver Broncos.
Interesting.
And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking they beat the Giants. Big whoop. They beat the Jags.
Big whoop.
Lesser whoop. They beat the Jets. Even lesser whoop.
But
and it's not really impressive, and I get it. But they won those games convincingly, like they should have. What I like about them, they have a Super Bowl caliber defense. They have an improved offensive line. And they have playmakers on offense. And guess what? They have stability at the quarterback position.
it is stable. I'll give you that. All right, so my top one. I do agree with you with the top 2. The Rams, yes. The Tampa didn't really do much to lose too much ground, even though I will play a little bit devil's advocate to you. Yeah, they're under staffed, but you play who you put out there, because being a Cowboys fan, no one said anything about, well, other than us, said anything about the Cowboys being understaffed when they played Tampa and they didn't have Zach Martin going, and Michael Gallup went down partly through the game. Hey, and then that Chargers game the Cowboys won, they barely had anybody on defense, or at least on the defensive line. So I'm just saying, if it applies to one team, it applies to all teams. You play who you put out there. That being said, I still think Tampa's a really good team. Then my number 3 team, I'm sorry, I can't avoid it anymore. And this could change next week because they have a very big matchup with the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders are 3-0 and playing good football. I mean, the mad genius Gruden looking like a mad genius right now. All right, your bottom 3 teams.
What I think is interesting, real quick, when we stay on these top 3 for a moment, if I remember correctly, before we had Kansas City listed in our top 3, at least I did. I know for sure I had Kansas City in my top 3 for the first couple of weeks.
One, I think.
Yeah, so I've had Kansas City in there the first 2 weeks, and I think it's very amusing that we both have a team from the AFC West
just not the one
in the top 3. That's not Kansas City, and we disagree on what team that is.
Do. Now, with mine, next week could be another team from the AFC West, depending on what happens on Monday night. Just saying.
Yeah, could this be the year that Kansas City gets knocked out of the AFC West division? like the division champion.
We'll see. We'll see. It's early.
Still early.
Next up, though, your bottom three teams.
Starting off with the New York football playing Giants, who are starting 0-3 for the second consecutive season. I'm not sure there's much more or different I can say from last week. I got a lot of struggles going on. Joe Judge, his job's got to be on the line, and at this point, I think maybe Dave Gettleman too.
Well, that should have
You're
been
thinking
2 years ago.
You both got to be on the hot seat right now. Just
And
think
Daniel
of how
Jones?
that New York Giant defense would look if they had Micah Parsons in there.
I do not want to. Why are you trying to do things around here? Like, stop that. Stop trying to change reality.
I'm just trying to show a reason why Dave Gettleman shouldn't be where he is.
Hey, let him have
And
Kadarius Toney.
Daniel. Yeah, surprisingly, I made an opportunity at a contract because now Kadarius Toney has more receiving yards than I do.
But even with that, all right,
I missed
don't
my
say
chance.
Micah. Imagine how that offense would look if they had Rashawn Slater. I'm just saying. Anyways,
Yeah, if they would have gone with O-line, yeah. Daniel Jones hasn't looked bad, but if that's the barometer that we're using for success for the Giant quarterbacks, then they're doomed. He hasn't looked bad. I don't think there's a lot that New York has helped with offensively. It seems like whoever they sign or whoever they have on their team just underperforms. You got a lot of struggles coming around. I think Daniel Jones may get replaced in the near future if this continues. So I got New York first.
who's your second to last?
Next up, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Urban Meyer is going to be a staple in my bottom three
Worst
for
roster in the league.
most, if not all, of the season.
Worst roster in the league.
Worst roster. They looked more competitive, so that's in the right
trying.
direction. They're almost. I'll give them. I don't know what they're almost doing, but they're almost.
All right, what about the third team?
And then my third. And I didn't think this team would get there this year. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow. Went
Your
there
first
already.
two draft picks were spent on a running back and a tight end when offensive line was an obvious need. Age has caught up to your quarterback, who's become a shell of himself, who's become more of a statue. I may have a stronger arm than Ben Roethlisberger at this point in his career. Now, that's not saying that Naji Harris and Pat Freiermuth are not doing any good. It's just the decision that the Pittsburgh front office is making when building the roster and the management of everything. You could have traded up for a quarterback. Chicago moved up from 20.
Let's
You
be
could have
honest.
moved up from 24.
Let's be honest, it's bad to throw 19 passes to a running back in a game.
Yeah, for fantasy purposes, like that's what you want. You're like, I got Najee Harris. Yes, throw the ball to him 19 times. As a fan of
Especially
Pittsburgh, you got to
PPR?
be thinking, are we
Woo!
precisely? Man, that's 14 points just on receptions. Not even counting the yardage, just receptions alone. Yeah, I get it. You have key players on both sides of the ball who are suffering from injuries. But it looked like you had given up this past weekend. And Tyler Boyd, Cincinnati wide receiver, made sure the world knew that you
said it.
gave up. Someone did, right? Pittsburgh, they weren't even trying.
They gave
That's
up.
why they're in my bottom three. Yeah.
All right, I'll give you my bottom three. So my worst team is not the same as yours, but it's in the same state, same city. Those New York Jets. Good Lord. I'm sorry. I have no clue what's going on there. I mean, perpetual just awfulness. Like, can this team catch a break? Good Lord. Like, bad. Then, yeah, I got Jacksonville, worst roster in the league. I mean, it's just going to happen this way. And then, yeah, guess what? We're going back to New York. The Giants. Because I'm sorry. When you lose to a team that you should be better than, that's bad. that means you have not only a bad team, you have a poorly coached team. And it gets really bad from there. If you, I don't know. But we're gonna move on from that because I normally don't mind Giants fans. I get along with Giants fans. They're not Philly fans. So, but moving on to our award updates. Going week by week, seeing who's in, seeing who's not, until we get to the end of the year and see if we're right. So, Sean, your offensive players of the year candidates. Give me your 3.
Man, I got some shakeup going on.
Oh, really?
I got some major shakeup because you're thinking first 3 games this season, we're trying to find out who's a pretender, who's a contender, who's for real, who just got off to a lucky start. And now we're 3 weeks in, so we're starting to get a better idea of where players are at, where teams are at. So I have a new number 1.
Who's your number 1?
And my number 1 is Los Angeles Ram wide receiver Cooper Kupp. Man, if there is any single player who benefited from Jared Goff getting traded to Detroit, it is Cooper Kupp, because for the first 3 games of the year,
Monster.
Cooper Kupp has seen 32 targets. That's nearly 11 targets per game. He's turned it into 25 receptions, 367 yards, and 5 touchdowns on an average per game basis. 8 catches, 120 yards, nearly 2 touchdowns. Wow. If there's anyone who benefited, it's that guy right there.
Who's your number 2?
My number 2, Tom Brady. He's the only one who stayed in my top 3. He's still producing. I know this week was not the best week for the Buccaneers, but Tom Brady has shown us for the first couple of games, he put up some good numbers as well in this game as well. He even got himself. He led the Buccaneers in rushing.
That's crazy.
There we go.
All right. And your number 3?
There we go. He can still do it. My number 3 is a person that I probably had never imagined I would say in my top 3 for Offensive Player of the Year, because it's a quarterback from the NFC North. And when I think of quarterback from the NFC North who needs to be Offensive Player of the Year, my mind would automatically go to, just like everybody else's, Aaron Rodgers. It wouldn't be Jared Goff. It wouldn't be Justin Fields. And before today, I probably didn't think it was going to be Kirk Cousins. But let's be real. When we're watching Kirk Cousins this year, I don't know if he ate his Wheaties. I don't know what it was. But he's thrown for over 900 yards. He's hitting on nearly 3/4 of his passes. And he has 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He's playing efficient, and he's protecting the ball, putting his team in a very good position to win. So Kirk Cousins has looked really impressive in the early going. Now, all of this to say, we still have 14 games left for each of these players.
Yep.
Things are going to change.
All right, so on to mine. There's only been one change on mine. Spoiler. All right, so Tom Brady's still on top. Tom Brady did nothing to lose his spot. Just saying, we'll see how things go going forward, but he did nothing to lose his spot. I'm guessing he's going to regain his spot on yours next week because of who he's playing. He's going to show out. Derek Carr continued to hold his spot for me. I mean, Miami's a tough go, and he still threw for, 380 yards? Good Lord. And then my new addition, the guy that everybody had a question mark for this offseason, the guy who was in high demand, the guy who's throwing to Mr. Cooper Kupp, the reason why Cooper Kupp is so happy, and Mr. Matthew Stafford. I'm putting some respect on that name. Mr. Matthew Stafford needs to get some recognition. Probably the happiest man in America right now because he doesn't have to pay for the Detroit Lions anymore. And he's got a competent coach with a good offense and an actual defense. But those are my list. Moving on to your defensive players of the year.
Yeah, I got a lot of change going on here.
Here
I don't think that this is a major shakeup, right? Right now, we're starting to see consistency with these players. I had Von Miller listed him before, and he maintained my number one spot for the first 2 weeks. But that was all after the impressive week 1. I was a little hesitant
Chandler
in naming
Jones.
him my number 1 last week. Oh, who did I say?
You said
Sorry.
Von Miller.
Von Miller? Oh, well, he's on my list too.
I know.
Spoiler.
I saw.
But, oh yeah, you know. The people don't. The people don't. But yeah, I had Chandler Jones number 1, and I kept him there. And I didn't feel too good about it last week. But after this third game, I'm like, you know what? He's got to bounce out of my top 3.
I agree.
He doesn't deserve.
I bounced him out last week.
You did. You were a little bit more ahead of that than I was. So good for you.
Well, let's get started.
You were quick.
Who's your number 1?
Number 1, Myles Garrett, Cleveland Browns. This is the game that Myles Garrett needed to get back on track. 4.5 sacks. Now, he's not my number 1 just because of that game, but that big performance kind of catapults him up to the top.
Number 2?
Number 2, going to Carolina, Hassan Reddick.
Wow.
Another game, another 2 sacks.
Nice.
He's just racking up the sacks. Carolina is using him less in coverage, and they're putting him more as a pass rusher.
Arizona should have.
Completely paying. Exactly. Arizona just didn't utilize him the right way. Carolina's like, you know what? We got a plan for you. Come on over, and it's showing.
And your number 3 guy.
Trayvon Diggs. I knew you'd be happy about this one.
Really?
Yeah. He's been targeted 20 times this season. He's given up 10 catches for 178 yards, but he's given up no touchdowns. Not only that, he has an interception in each game this season, and most recently he had a very nice pick 6 on Jalen Hurts against the Eagles. And when quarterbacks try and test him, they only have a 41 passer rating against him.
All right, going for mine. So, my number 1 is actually Von Miller. And it's just because Von Miller is showing a lot of consistency right now. He's showing he's back. He's doing well. I don't care if he's playing bad teams. He's showing he's doing what defensive players of the year should. He's wrecking who he needs to wreck. Next up, Myles Garrett. This guy's monster. Straight up monster. Just a mutant of a man. Just straight. I mean, how you teleport from one side to the next. I mean, these offensive linemen have no chance. And then yes, Trayvon Diggs is also on my list, number 3. I know you said the 100 and something yards. A lot of that actually came in the Chargers game because Justin Herbert is not human, and one of the big pass that he gave up was a pass that like only a few humans can make, and he literally almost had his hand on it. It had to be a perfect, unbelievable pass to happen for Trayvon Diggs to give that up. Other than that, he has shut down pretty much completely Mike Evans, who most would say is the stud in this league, and he also shut down your boy Devonta Smith, bullied him the whole game. And it's more than just the pick 6. It's more than just the fact that he leads the league in interceptions, by the way, with 3. He also leads the league in pass breakups with 6. But he does that bully mode mentality from the cornerback spot, and he is not highly penalized at all. What's up?
Hey.
All right. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
All right. So my number 1 guy is Jamar Chase, which stays pretty similar to last week. And even removing touchdowns, Jamar Chase is showing that he is the Jamar Chase.
Wait. You said Jamar Chase, right?
Jamar Chase. Yes, you're getting too much enjoyment out of this. No, but even removing the touchdowns, he's showing that he is the most consistent offensive rookie out there.
Yes, he is.
The touchdowns are a huge bonus.
They are. I mean, they help.
They sure do.
Number 2.
Number 2, Naji Harris. Naji Harris.
So someone's on board now, huh?
You know what? The reason Najee is number 2 is he is the
14 receptions.
second most consistent offensive rookie this year. And if it weren't for his 14 catches on 19 targets against Cincinnati, like there would still be a question because not necessarily him. I'm going to say he because he was the one toting the rock, but he was held to a very poor rushing stats and a very poor rushing outcome.
Well, we know why.
But it's the offensive line. It's the defense doesn't fear Ben Roethlisberger's arm like it once used to. So Naji Harris is number 2 because he's the second most consistent rookie. I mean, it's a pretty big gap between Chase and Harris right now.
He is consistently, it's something like he's getting only 3 yards before contact.
I'm surprised he's getting that much.
All right. Next up, your third one.
I refuse to name a third offensive rookie because there is no one who has performed consistently over the first 3 weeks to be even in that consideration. So I refuse.
All right. So this man is only considering skill players, just so you know, because.
But what offensive line?
When
I look at the offensive line,
I'm gonna get there.
Okay, you show me. Okay.
All right, so my number 1 is obviously Jamar Chase. You know, that was my guy. I went to bet. We should have made a bet because right now I'd be winning. There's only one receiver that should have been considered in the top 10, in my opinion. As much as I like Jalen Waddle, who is still doing better than Devonta Smith. Just saying. Then Najee is my number 2. I feel bad for him. He needs better offensive line. And then my number 3 is Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater is being extremely consistent. Out of 100 and I think 89 snaps, he's given up 5 pressures.
I considered having an offensive lineman as my number 3 offensive rookie of the year because everybody else just isn't getting the job done. But if I had to go with one of those, it was probably going to be Samuel Cosmi or Creed Humphrey.
Samuel Cosmi is the other one I considered. He had a trial by fire against Bosa, where Bosa destroyed him. And since then, through 89 snaps, he has not given up a pressure. But Bosa murdered in week 1. All right, your defensive rookies of the year.
Defense, some change, but not our number 1 position. Number 1 is still Micah Parsons, who continues to look impressive each week. He's growing. He's getting better. Is there anything that Micah Parsons cannot do, which
I don't think
the rest of the league wonder, if I drafted before Dallas, why did I pass on Micah Parsons?
One thing you can't do is beat Amari Cooper at chess. I don't know. Well,
you need him to play a linebacker? He's got you. You need him to play edge? Field? He's got you. Yeah. You need him to rush the passer? He's got you. Stop the run? He's got you. Coverage? He's got you.
Your number 2 guy.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, which is one of my favorite draft picks to Cleveland. It is such a shame that he fell to the second round, and you're thinking all these teams. It was a size. Was there a health concern or a health issue?
No, that was disease.
Oh yeah. So Jeremiah slips to round 2.
It was because
Cleveland
people didn't know what to do with him. They're like, is he a safety? Is he a linebacker? What is he?
Well, the funny thing is, he's been playing linebacker a lot this season, and if I remember reading correctly, based on the PFF grading, he is the best graded linebacker in the NFL. Not rookie.
But I mean those grades are
linebacker.
to be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah. But what do we see? He played well against the Bears. And it wasn't just because the Bears had played poorly. You saw
he was all
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah all over. that sack he had on Justin Fields was really a thing of beauty because it wasn't planned. Jeremiah's watching the running back. The running back doesn't do anything. He's like, well, let me just go after Justin Fields.
Back to what we talked about. Game planning.
Game planning. He does well stopping the run. He does well in coverage. I mean, just get him more snaps. Get him into the starting lineup. He's going to get better. My third guy, quietly picking up steam, New York Giants, Azeez Ojulari. 3 sacks in 3 games. He has been consistent. 1 sack each game. That's all you need to get started.
Yeah.
Just get one. Just get one. Make it consistent. Keep putting pressure on the quarterback.
All right, so my number 1 is the Terminator. Yes, that's Mr. Micah Parsons. Has anyone else made as much of an impact on their team that Micah Parsons has? I know there's other new players on Dallas, but Micah Parsons has literally energized this defense. He's injected something in them. They're all playing faster, better. Him and Dan Quinn are like the biggest thing for this particular defense and helping this team out.
That's a great duo.
Next up, Odafe-Oweh, still my number 2 guy. He didn't have any splash plays like JOK or Azeez this week, but he was still solid. And he's still, keeping that consistency going. If those guys continue to flash more, one of those can jump above him. But he's still my number 2 guy right now. And then my number 3 guy, Asante Samuel Jr. Based on his interception alone, he was going to be on my list. But he's also played very consistent the last couple of weeks. I thought it couldn't get better for a rookie than that Patrick Surtain the second interception. Until I saw Aziz's nonsense. Asante Samuel's nonsense. Are we playing football or baseball out here? That's a web gem he just made.
It was hard for me to leave Asante Samuel Jr. off my top 3. That was really challenging.
All right, let's get into these games. We're got limited for time here, so we're gonna speed through a little bit.
Rapid fire.
All right. So Thursday night, we got Jacksonville at Cincinnati. Do we need to? Cincinnati.
It's a shame that this game is being billed as like number 1 draft pick versus number 1 draft pick.
Well, it is. I mean,
And
not wrong.
I don't think the game's going to come down to the draft pick. At least not the number 1. Like, I have a feeling it's going to be more of James Robinson versus Joe Mixon. At which point, I'm taking Joe Mixon.
Right. And Jamar Chase. You forget.
And presumptive offensive rookie of the year, Jamar Chase.
You forget they just traded away one of their corners. Exactly. All right. The Carolina Panthers travel to Dallas to play a noon game. Dallas playing a noon game to face the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys. I think this is actually maybe a closer game, but I do, even with Dallas under shorthanded at the defensive line position, I think Dallas is going to tear up this offensive line, to be honest. But I think Carolina's still a good team, and this could be a close game. But I'm taking Dallas.
I agree with a lot that you said. I think Dallas is going to win. For me, it's going to be Carolina's offense versus Dallas's defense. Now, Dallas's defense isn't performing as well as they should be, right? You got people out, people coming back. But let's not forget, Carolina is now without Christian McCaffrey. You're going to have Chuba Howard in there playing the number 1 running back role. I don't think he's going to do as well as McCaffrey did, right? I don't think he's going to fill in as well as Mike Davis did last year. I think now we're going to see what impact Christian McCaffrey had for that team, especially on the offense, because now Sam Darnold, are we going to continue to see this 2021 career rejuvenation Sam Darnold? Or are we going to see a version of Sam Darnold who saw ghosts? The New York Jet version of Sam Darnold. And let's not forget, Carolina still has one of the worst offensive lines in football that can often be overlooked because how well Christian McCaffrey performs.
Also with that, look who they've played recently. They played, week 1 they played the Jets, right?
Yeah, there was a revenge game.
Yeah, they played
Sam Darnold Bowl.
The Jets.
Yeah,
they played the Saints, which is a solid team, but their offense didn't light up the Saints. It was more their defense controlling the Saints, and the Saints don't have wide receivers, so that's understandable. And then they played the Texans, who were starting the rookie QB. The better quarterback in this game is Dak Prescott. Now, I could be wrong, but I think Dallas is going to be overwhelming. But keeping it rolling, we have the Washington football team traveling to Atlanta. And as much as I'd like Atlanta to keep it rolling, get a second win, I don't see it.
Neither do I. I know Washington's defense has been underperforming, underachieving this year.
Very much so.
But I don't think Atlanta's going to be as lucky to get a victory here like they did against the Giants as Washington.
So next we have the Houston Texans traveling to New York, going upstate though, the Buffalo, to get beat.
If we have Josh Allen rolling like Josh Allen just did this week,
yeah,
he's gonna put up like 5 touchdowns by halftime. Now I'm going Buffalo.
Now's the game that I don't even like, honestly. We got the Detroit Lions going to Chicago to face the Chicago Bears. I want to take the Bears in this game. I don't trust Matt Nagy, so I'm taking the Lions.
Oh, Matt Nagy's saying he doesn't know which of his 3 quarterbacks.
Nonsense.
Dalton, Justin Fields, even Nick Foles, who's I believe has been inactive. He doesn't know which of his 3 quarterbacks is going to start in Detroit. Now, one of 2 things. It's either gamesmanship to keep Detroit on their toes, they don't know who they're facing this week, or 2, he's a complete idiot and he really doesn't know who he's starting. He should be rolling out Justin Fields, because if he was listening to me in the very beginning of the year and even before the year, I was talking about keep Justin Fields out until this Detroit game, because this is a game that he can feast on. So if you put Nick Foles in there over a healthy Justin Fields,
he's nonsense.
You're an idiot, and you deserve to be fired on the spot, which I think he deserves to be fired already, but we can save that for a different time. We'll see what the outcome is. But in spite of Matt Nagy, I'm hoping Justin Fields starts, and I'm giving the Bears the victory because they're playing at home. I know.
I can't trust him.
I don't feel great about it, but I'm giving the Bears a victory at home.
I want to. I like that Bears defense. I like Justin Fields. I just can't trust him. All right. Coming up, we have the Indianapolis Colts traveling all the way down to Miami to face those Dolphins. And I'm going to say this, even with Jacoby Brissett, Miami gets a victory here.
Miami. Yeah. Mr. Glass isn't going to get it done. Something's wrong in Indianapolis. I think it's the offensive line.
But it could be T.Y. being out? They just don't have anything dynamic enough out there?
No, was T.Y. Hilton... Did he really perform that well last year? He's consistent, not poo-pooing on
I don't know.
T.Y., but this is his age 31 season. He's on the back half of his career, but who's reliable target for Carson Wentz to throw to, or whoever quarterbacks for Indianapolis? I wouldn't be surprised if Indianapolis got the victory if they just rode Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines the whole game.
We'll see.
Running the ball. Because that's something that they didn't do last week. They didn't run the ball as much. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, This one was a hard one, too, because you're thinking Miami has Jacoby Brissett. Like, oh, it's Jacoby Brissett. But it's the Jacoby Brissett revenge game, so let's give him a victory here.
All right, next we have the Browns traveling to Minnesota. And I'm taking those Brownies, boy. Yeah, go ahead. You got back your MVP candidate.
Offensive Player of the Year candidate.
Offensive Player of the Year candidate. My bad.
We're going to have MVP coming up soon, but, got to ride Kirk Cousins while he's hot. Cleveland, that defense is coming off a stellar performance against the Bears. Granted, the Bears had no offensive line. Minnesota has a slightly better offensive line.
So what?
Oh, man. Now, but then you're thinking on defense, you have Odell Beckham back, which is good for Cleveland because Jarvis Landry is still out. Odell Beckham's in against Patrick Peterson the whole game. And whose speed do you trust, Odell or Patrick Peterson?
Odell.
Well, I think Kirk Cousins is still going to eat and get his. How do you like that? But I got to go with Cleveland for this one.
All right.
I changed my mind.
We'll see how it goes. All right. So now,
mid-pick, I might change.
Those New York football Giants are traveling. Oh, looks like the Saints aren't living out of a suitcase anymore. But let's hope the roof doesn't catch on fire. They're going to New Orleans to face the Saints. That's the craziest thing I ever saw. How the roof just randomly caught on fire? They're traveling to New Orleans because apparently they're playing back in the Superdome. And if they're at home, those New Orleans people, they be coming out and they get loud. And I don't trust Joe Judge as much as I could throw him. He looks like he's heavy. So it is the Saints. New York is going to 0-4.
I think there's going to be a lot of excitement in New Orleans. First home game, first official home game for them. I think a lot of excitement.
Those people need hope.
They need hope, and New York, the football playing Giants are the sacrificial lamb. Yeah. So going New Orleans.
All right, easiest game of the week. Tennessee's going to East Rutherford to face the Jets. Go ahead. What you think?
Tennessee. Yeah. Derrick Henry is going to run all over
Tennessee.
them.
Another easy game. Kansas City Chiefs are going to get their get-right game going to Philadelphia to face the Eagles. KC.
Kansas City.
Mahomes is going to feast. Travis Kelce
They're angry.
Going to run over everybody.
Andy Reid coming back to Philadelphia. Let's not forget that storyline.
Yes, forgot about that. Oh, Andy's. All right. One of the games of the week. Arizona Cardinals traveling to LA to face the Rams. I actually think it's going to be a good game, but I think the Rams take this.
I agree with that one. Arizona, they allowed Jacksonville to stay in the game much longer than they should have. And I don't want to say there's holes in the offense, but something just wasn't in sync last week. And if they couldn't do it against Jacksonville, you're going against arguably one of the best defenses in the league. Yeah, LA Rams.
All right, Seattle's going down the street, face them Niners over at Levi's Stadium. How you feel about this one? I think I'm taking the Niners. I don't feel good about Seattle right now.
I don't feel good about either team right now.
Yeah, but Niners gave the Pack all they could take at one point.
Right, but which Jimmy Garoppolo is going to come out to play on Sunday? I'm going to go with Seattle on this one. Russ is going to cook.
All right.
DK Metcalf's going to get on the board.
All right, now we got another good one. The Ravens are traveling to Denver to face the Broncos. Believe it or not, I'm taking the Broncos. 4-0 Broncos.
I got the Broncos too. Go second home team.
I just think the Ravens, I mean, first of all, that altitude does affect people. The Ravens are traveling all the way from Baltimore, and the Broncos are good against the run, man.
Yo, you're not joking about that altitude, though. Like, I've been doing a lot of bike riding, like getting like 30 plus miles a weekend. So I'm like, hey, my cardio is pretty good. I went for a run the other weekend.
Huh?
Man, that run was brutal. Like, my lungs didn't know what hit them. They got ripped out of my chest. They got stepped on. They got thrown back in there. Like, it was brutal. That altitude's no joke. Well, these players are far more conditioned than I ever will be, even the kickers.
All right, so we got Pittsburgh traveling to Green Bay, play those Packers. Pittsburgh, I'm sorry. This is not a get-right game. You guys are going to get roasted.
Yep. And if they don't, I'll shave the beard. Go Packers.
Now, speaking of get-right games, Tampa Bay is traveling to New England. Tom Brady's coming home to just roast his team. Former team.
I am looking forward to this game so much, and I enjoyed the video package they put together for this game, where they're playing Adele's. What was the song that they were playing? There we go. Yeah, I thought that was great.
Very passive.
Tom Brady coming back. I still think that Bill Belichick is an evil genius, but he just doesn't have the personnel to keep up with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady.
He does not. All right, then quite possibly Monday Night Football got it right. Game of the week. The Raiders are traveling to Los Angeles. Not too far. It's about a 3-hour drive. To face the Chargers, not the Rams. The Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers.
I'm surprised. I thought you'd have been going with Derek Carr.
Nope.
Your possible MVP offensive player of the year candidate.
It's likely possible, but this is a team game. And I think the Chargers are a better team.
Good.
And Justin Herbert's playing good football.
He is, and his head coach, Brandon Staley, trusts him. What I loved about this game this past week is Los Angeles had the chance to go for a field goal. And they're like, you know what? Let me just put the ball in my quarterback's hands. Let me trust my quarterback with the game on the line. 4th down. Could have gone for a field goal. They went for it. They drew a defensive pass interference, got a new set of downs. Fast forward, Mike Williams, touchdown, game over, you win. But that's the trust that Justin Herbert didn't have last year with Anthony Lynn. Granted, Justin Herbert was a rookie. Anthony Lynn wasn't good at managing things,
to say the least.
But it's very different, and I love what the Chargers are doing. So I got the Chargers for this one.
Not to mention the way Brandon Staley's the defense is set up. It's to limit the stuff that Derek Carr has been doing well. The Raiders have not been running the ball well. And the Chargers are a team that you need to run the ball against. They will not allow you to have big plays downfield. They want you to dink and dunk, then they want you to eventually either fizzle out or make a mistake. So, I just
prop bet for you. Desante Samuel Jr. get an interception.
This game,
yep.
Yes.
Ooh, I think so too.
All right, that's it for the week 4 preview. Sean, words of wisdom.
Yeah. Ooh, wisdom. I don't know what I got this week, but if for some reason the Packers do lose, please recommend a razor to use.
Oh, you putting on the line
get
again?
Rid of the beard. Yeah, I'm putting the beard on the line.
Oh, okay.
Packers gonna win.
Well then.
Packers gonna win.
All right, 2 weeks in a row. Oh wait, no.
No.
This is a skip.
It was week 2.
Still another week you put it on the line. Hey. My whole thing. All right, so my one. Let me think. What do I want? What wisdom do I want to display to the people? Be careful eating. You want to eat too much, too fast. Don't want to choke. Don't want to have something adverse happen.